Verdant Brink is a multi-level warren of twisting pathways and vertigo-inducing drops. To survive here amongst all its dangers, creatures have to find their footing and learn to live in harmony with the jungle. One group of Hylek have managed this to perfection. They thrive high in the treetops even as the jungle falls into disarray below. They are the Itzel, and their rich culture holds the Maguuma at its heart. Itzel, like Central Tyrian Hylek, live in tribes. Here in Verdant Brink there are several tribes living high amongst the canopy of the trees. Each group varies in how welcoming they are of outsiders. Some, such as the caustic Itzel, are highly distrustful of anyone that strays too close. Their wariness is a product of the Mordrim invasion. As the dragon usurped the delicate balance of the jungle, flooding Verdant Brink with minions and scattering debris and wreckage throughout the area, the Itzel's usual pace of life was shattered along with their homes. Faced with the threat of death, or worse, corruption, these Itzel choose to take no chances and shoot on sight. The tribe here at Jacket Itzel is not so aggressive. It is led by Kana Miatli and guided by High Priest Kopul. Kana can be loosely translated to mean chieftain, and she is responsible for the governance of the tribe from their everyday alliances to their response to the threat of the jungle dragon. Kana Miatli recognises the Mordrim as a distinct threat and welcomes outsiders into the village if they help her and her kin to defend their home. Itzel homes are built into the trees, high enough from the ground that they are protected from predators and safe from other creatures pillaging their carefully constructed stores. They are made from naturally occurring sustainable materials. The frames are made from wood scaffolding, bound together with vines and latticed with thinner woven strips of wood. This is then covered in a mixture of mud and plant fibre to form smooth, curved walls. The mud used in construction is strong and keeps the interior of these dwellings cool and shaded in the jungle heat. Each building serves a specific function. This one is likely used for brewing poison. Like Central Tyrian Hylek, Itzel are adept at distilling death from plant matter found in the jungle, but most particularly from their own bodies. They house venomous glands in their mouths and coat the heads of their arrows and the tips of their daggers to give them an edge in combat. Other buildings are packed full of food. Itzel diet is varied and rich. They can eat meat and fish, insects and grubs, as well as mushrooms and fungi. They hunt in groups, taking down creatures far larger than they could alone, from sprinting mushrooms to hulking saurians, and weave intricate cages, traps and nets to lure and capture fish or comb the branches for bugs. Down on the jungle floor beneath Jacket Itzel, some Itzel even tend a garden of flax. These plants, once harvested, have a multitude of uses, from grinding the seeds to make oil that can be used to treat the wood of their homes to weaving the fibres into cloth. There are other rooms strung wall to wall with animal hides tanning in the heat. Each part of the animal is used, even the bones, teeth and scales, for weapons, tools or decoration. The rainwater dripping from the canopy is also collected. Large leaves funnel moisture into the centre, where it drips down into hollowed out seed husks as clear, clean drinking water. The Itzel also excel at making musical instruments. They are most known for carving wood and stringing it with carefully treated animal gut to create melodic lutes. Playing such instruments in the heat and humidity of the deep Maguuma has its challenges. Changes in temperature or moisture have a tendency to warp the delicate wood that make up the lute, and gut strings lose their pitch. But these musical Hylek do not let this deter them. Some Itzel's musical ability is renowned, and they draw crowds with their music. Others, like Nilisqua, prefer solitude, strumming the chords to fill the open jungle. Itzel society is held together by their devotion to the jungle. Their faith is a form of animism, the belief that spirit or sentience exists in many other aspects of the natural world, such as plants, other animals, even the wind and rain. The Itzel give a name to this sentience, Amiali. As their nature goddess, Amiali is present in all things and orchestrates everything that happens in the jungle. Even things that pose a threat to Itzel society are viewed as an opportunity brought to them by the jungle. If a tree falls or a food source dries up, it is simply time for the Itzel to learn from the situation and find another way. Their villages are decorated with brightly coloured wood, painted to evoke Amiali's eyes. a reminder of her presence watching over them. And here in the gentle shade under the cliffs, they have erected a shrine. Itzel gather here to pray, guided by priests, and sit in quiet contemplation amongst the glittering mushrooms and cascading vines. Their faith makes the Itzel some of the most accepting and open-minded of all the Hylic. Visitors are welcomed and treated as honoured guests. Everyone becomes an opportunity to learn something new. The sole exception to the Itzel's understanding are the Mordrim. The Itzel fervently reject the idea that the Mordrim exist to teach them anything. To the Itzel, Mordrimoth's minions are invaders, and must be eradicated if balance is to be restored. The Mordrim frequently attack the Itzel. Their indiscriminate warfare against any creature that resists the tyranny of the jungle dragon leaves no village untouched or unscathed. In Jacket Itzel, the Hylic band together with soldiers, known to Asura alike, and repel them. Itzel weaponry favours small, compact, deadly weapons that are light and easy to use amongst the oppressive tangle of the jungle. Short bows, easy to fire between branches, allow for their acrobatic combat style. They fire volleys of arrows down on their foes, some exploding in toxic fumes. They also possess the ability to conceal their bodies with stealth powder to move undetected. The Mordrim are not the only threat the Itzel face. Their tendency to welcome others with open arms and minds means that they can be taken advantage of by cruel and calculating enemies, even enemies masquerading as allies. These Hylic are the Zintal tribe, a group that spread voraciously into the jungle from the Maguuma wastes and further afield. The Zintal proselytize their religion to any Hylic they find that does not share their viewpoints. They are tenacious, and even resort to devious means to promote their ideals. They exploit the Itzel's faith in the jungle by making it appear that the jungle has turned against them. After a wyvern attacked Jacket Itzel, tearing through the village in a fiery rage, the Itzel were left in disarray, hungry and frightened. The Zintal reached out with food, encouraging the Itzel to feast and regain their strength. But this food was nothing more than wyvern eggs, stolen from the nearby cliffs. Once their parents discovered they were missing, the wyverns attacked, tearing through the peaceful village with fire. These Hylic responded to the Itzel's need in order to corrupt or undermine their society. Still, some Itzel have forged lasting alliances with other Hylic that have made their villages and tribes stronger. Even the more hostile Caustic Itzel have found powerful allies in the Zocotl. The extraordinary strength of these new Hawk means the passages and walkways to and from their villages are formidably guarded and protected from outsiders. Alliances between tribes also serve to create trading routes across the jungle. The Itzel influence is thus extended all across the Maguuma to tangled depths and beyond. Just as lore seeker Utogi works to aid the tribe at Jacket Itzel, advisor Ostotl accompanies Kana Pahua in Teku New Hawk, solidifying the strong alliance between the two tribes. Whether it's building intricate villages amongst towering trees, or honing their keen senses by outsmarting the Mordrim, the Itzel have mastered living in this jungle, Hylic of formidable resourcefulness that excel at survival. Regardless of whether they are rebuilding from the wrath of Mordrimoth or the wake of a jungle storm, the jungle provides, and their faith prevails.